as with all of the questions, you are being tested on all 3 assessment objectives. So that's your ability to understand the poem, your ability to write an essay, your ability to analyse a writer's techniques and intentions, and then your understanding of how the world around them at the time will have affected the meaning in their writing. With poetry questions, we are going to use this as a structure. So all of our comparative essays and the unseen essay, which we'll come to later, you are going to follow this structure for paragraphs. So a paragraph on language, one on imagery, one on structure, and one on theme, bookended by both your introduction and conclusion. These lists are not exhaustive. There are other things you can write about, but this just gives you an idea of what you would include. And then last time out, we had a look at this as a poetry question. So starting with Ozymandias, how is the power of man presented in Ozymandias and one other poem? We discussed the idea that you need to have those poems lined up quite easily. You should know which poems go together. And so in the case of this, we are looking at London. Therefore, our imagery paragraph is going to talk about the fact that both poets are using metaphors, both poets are talking about lost or fake power, all leading to the fact that the power of man is presented as being not real or not long lasting. So we're going to write that paragraph now, ensuring that we hit all of those assessment objectives. So compare how the power of man is presented in Ozymandias and one other poem. So within Ozymandias, the power of man is presented as temporary and inferior to the power of nature. The statue is described as having a shattered visage, which tells the reader that whatever power existed is now gone beyond all repair. The adjective shattered implies that it is broken and can never be repaired, whilst the use of visage suggests that the power was a mask and therefore never real. Okay, so at this point we've only talked about Ozymandias and we have not yet included anything on AO3. What we are now going to need to go on to do is talk about London. Similarly, in London. The writer describes mind-forged manacles. This metaphor suggests that the control felt by people is in their mind, and therefore also not real. The use of manacles implies that people are somehow imprisoned by what they believe. So we've now dealt with both poems. We have all of this on Ozymandias. We have identified writers' techniques and named them. We have then put a direct comparison in place with London, and we've talked about what that quotation in London means, again naming that technique. What we now need to do is go on to come back to the question and to include something on context. So both poets were romantics and as such believed that government or organised religion was corrupt, and that nature had more power than man. Both poets illustrate through their use of metaphor that man's power is both temporary and fake. So that is one comparative paragraph. You need to do that 4 times in total for your essay. If we come back to the beginning, we can see that we have the response to the question. We then have that analysis of writers' techniques. Highlighter's running out. We then go on to the response to the question, focusing on London. Again, that analysis of writers' techniques. And then finally ending with AO3, back to the response to the question. Now, whilst that feels like quite a lot to do, you can see that actually writing that essay, as long as you know where you're going with it, as long as you know what you're writing in each paragraph, the paragraphs themselves don't take that long. What you should now do using your plans from the last session is write the language, structure and theme paragraphs.